Another quick video. This one will probably be quick, and but yet it's very important. And what we'll talk about is the timing of the machine. So there's really, the way I vision it, there's three different major functions going on that have to all be in sequence with each other. When they get out of sequence, you're going to start shearing pins, and you probably have all kinds of issues. So in the three major components that I think of when I'm thinking about a baler is you got one that's picking your straw up off the ground and handing it up to the plunger that's pushing it into the bale chamber. So you got the mechanism that's bringing the straw up, handing it off, if you will, to the plunger, and then the plunger has to work in conjunction with the tying system or the knotter. So you have to have the packer fork or the mechanism that's handing the straw off, a packer fork or stuffer feeder, having that working in conjunction with the plunger that's moving it into the bale chamber, and then the plunger has to be working in conjunction with the knotter, or the plunger is going to hit the needles and break them off and shear a pin there. So those three things have to be in time. So to check the timing, and you'll want to check the timing every, you don't have to do that at every 5,000, but if you let a chain get too slack and it jumps a sprocket or a chain comes off, then knowing how to time the machine is imperative to ever getting it going again. So three quick things, three quick places to check the timing. All of them have to be in conjunction with one another, in sequence. First, your main, off your main gearbox, the drive arm off your main gearbox, got a couple of little spots there with some white paint, and then somebody's attempt at writing timing mark. So first thing you'd want to check is to get your move it. You can move it by turning your flywheel over, but get this main drive arm, which is driving your plunger. Make sure it's in between those two timing marks. And then you want to walk around to the other side and check. This one's going to be hard to see, but trust me, it's in there. If you look inside this little hole, there'll be a mark on your packer or your stuffer feeder arm. So you want to look in there and find a little piece of white or a little splash of white paint in there. Then those two are working in sequence with each other. Again, that's the plunger running, taking the straw as the stuffer feeder, hands it off to it. Then the plunger is going to push it into the bale chamber. You obviously don't want the plunger striking that packer fork, or you don't want it delayed so far that it's not operating at full capacity. So then the third thing you want to check is to make sure that your knotter is working in time with your plunger. So I've got the main arm on the plunger and still in the proper timing mark. And then up here on the knotter, there'll be 2 or 3 little dots, and they'll be highlighted in white. That's showing that your knotter is in time. When those two series of 3 dots get off a 1/2 inch, you'll still be okay, but it gets approaching 3/4 of an inch or an inch, you'll want to go back and loosen your chain up and jump the chain over 1 or 2 teeth on your sprocket to get that back in time. So this one you can see is probably off maybe an 1/8. That's okay. But when it gets to exceeding a 1/2, it gets up there like 3/4 of an inch, you'll definitely want to take the tension off the chain, where you can get the chain to jump a tooth on the sprocket and get those back in time. So If a chain comes off, chain comes apart, then everything's going to be out of timing, and you'll have to get all three of those timed back again. Not a big issue, but sooner or later you're going to experience it, and so it's good to know about keeping it in time, making sure it operates at maximum capacity, maximum production capacity.